I made this video, Piper and we were working on our sit stay, and this is the first time I did it outside. And when I finished this video and I was reviewing it, I realized that there was a lot of teachable moments in it. So I thought I would take the time to play this video and make some comments on my training, on what was happening, and I hope that you'll be able to use some of this when you're working with your own dog going forward. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first time I've done this sit stay exercise with Piper outside. We do it in the house a lot, and she's really good. She will hold her sit. I can walk 5 paces away, and she'll hold her sit. We're up to about 10 seconds now. So I came outside, and the first thing I did was I was going to pick up where we left off. But as you'll notice, she struggles with that, and that's not unusual. When we change locations and environments for our dogs, sometimes we have to go back to the beginning to let them know that, hey, it's the same skill in this environment as it was in the house. And you might do this in every environment you take your dog, and over time they will start to generalize the skill much more quickly. You'll see even with this that she struggles when I take my step back, but she very quickly realizes that, oh, it's the same game, and she starts to hold her sit. So here we go, this first part, you'll see this happening. Great, she sits, no problem. I step back, she follows me. So stop, I try again. Still follows me. All right, information. That just means I need to go back to basics to teach her that she can hold her sit, even when we're outside. So I go back to very simple exercises. And I give her breaks by tossing treats, letting her come back, resetting her, and then starting over again. So here we go. Now, the only thing with my mechanics that I would comment on here is I'm feeding her a little bit too high. You can see her head and neck stretching up to get the food. She's almost coming out of her sit. I need to actually be feeding a little bit lower so that she doesn't have to stretch. I'd rather feed with her head and nose in a neutral position where her nose is right there at that angle. So that's something for me to correct. And that's the value of taking a video of your training. You can pick up on things that you don't necessarily see when you're working real time. I try to usually work in sets of 5 and then toss a treat to reset. So now I'm doing this without food in my hand. And she starts to, right there, you notice she dropped her head a little bit, turns away, give me a head turn. She usually does that when she's not quite thinking, well, my interpretation is she's saying, oh, Mom, this is too hard. So what I need to do, and there you see her head just start to come up a bit, I start making it a little bit easier. If my dog is struggling with the behavior, if they're finding it hard, if they're giving me any kind of negative body language, like the head dropping, this is too much for me, yawns, lip licks, head turns, getting up, moving away from the training session, that's information for me. And I want to make sure that my dog has got a positive, joyful attitude when I'm training, because otherwise that feeling, that emotion gets tied into whatever skill it is I'm teaching my dog. And I want a dog who gets to do what I'm doing and doesn't have to do what I'm doing. It's a subtle difference, but it can make a big difference in their emotions and how they feel about doing the behavior. And you'll notice that at that point I took a break. I did some orientation game just to get her moving, just to reset. And now that we're back doing this, I'm getting much more positive body language. Her head is up. She's looking like she's engaged. She doesn't look like this is too hard, Mom. And the other thing to notice is we have a tendency, because we're only human, to make things hard. My dog is doing so good, so I just make it harder and harder and harder. You want to mix up hard repetitions with easy repetitions. So if I'm going to take 5 steps away and at that distance, so if I'm going to take 5 steps away and I want to do 6, I might do a set of 5 repetitions, 2 steps, 4 steps, 1 step, 5 step, 2 step, so that it is a little bit harder, but 4 out of 5 repetitions are easier, something my dog can do successfully, and that's how you can start to grow the difficulty. The same thing with duration. I might do 5 repetitions, and I'll do 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, 9 seconds. So 10 is the hardest repetition, and she gets a chance to build up to it without realizing that it's getting harder. Now she is starting to break
Good.
her sit. So this session went on, it was almost 3 minutes and 45
All done.
seconds. So
All
that was
done.
a
Good
bit too
job.
long for outside for our first time. And that's okay. It's information. Next time we go to do this outside, I'm going to keep the session shorter so that, again, it helps with the joy and enthusiasm so that she can enjoy what we're doing together and not feel overwhelmed by it. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.